Hey everybody, welcome to another edition of Box Seats. I'm your host, Frank Holder. This is where we talk sports with comedians, and we have a great time doing it. You know, we give us our funny takes and everything else. So first up, let me bring in the first comedian, and I always stay in order because y'all know what I do. No surprise there. Talent, what's going on?
That's the funniest thing ever, man. That's a funny thing. Hey, listen, you got to do what you got to do to stay
That's
on
right.
track.
That's
And
right.
your brain is already worked out. Don't let Rodney mess with you, man.
I'll let Rodney pay the rest of you at all, but I stay in order, and being that I stay in order, next up is Fig. Fig, what's popping?
I'm good, man. Feeling good, man. It's a good day.
Mike Sean in the same order. Mike Sean in the building.
I know what the Jackson 5 felt like now. Because, I know they had to stay in order. I'll be Marlon.
Oh, I thought that was Tito. I don't know. I don't
Maybe
know.
it was Tito. Tito might have been third. Who knew?
Who knows? All right, so we always jump into box seats. We always talk about sports and everything else. The crazy thing is, right while we were on the air, I know I text you guys about this and everything else. Right while we were about to jump on the air, Deshaun Watson decided that he wanted to report to the minicamp for the Cleveland Browns, and he's speaking to the audience live right now. The one thing that stood out to me so far in this, as he's talking, he said a couple of things. One, he said the number 66 is too much. He said he really can't speak on that. He said, but he wasn't 66 people. And two, he said that he basically said he didn't do it. He can't talk a lot about it. He said he didn't do it. So you tell me what you think. What your thought process is on him addressing some of the situation, and just what things that he said that maybe he can't say legally or not. I don't know. He's stuck between a rock and a hard place.
Right. Well, I think we learned one thing over time. We've learned that the whole not saying nothing at all, thinking things going to go away. We know we don't live in that world anymore. So any chance you get to put a little. I can't talk about a lot of things in the trial or about to come up or whatever, but I ain't do it. You got to at least do that. You got to at least do that. If you really, in your heart of hearts, want people to believe in your innocence, it's got to start with you.
Right.
You can't be that guy just walking around, not saying nothing. We see where R. Kelly is.
Right.
Trying to not say nothing. He didn't speak until it was too late. He waited to the end. He was already persecuted in the moral courts, public opinion, all that. Then he wanted to sit down with Gail. And then he messed that up.
Yeah. He did. He messed it up because Gail's like, Robert.
So then if Deshaun didn't take this little conference right here, it'd be like, Deshaun?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I think you got to do it, though. He did the right thing. I mean, I know there's a lot you can't, everybody knows that legally when you're fighting some, there's a lot of things you can't divulge your stuff, what's going on behind the scenes. But at least just say, man, I'll tell you, rest assured, I ain't do what they say.
Yeah. Fig, what's your take on this, man? Some of the stuff he's saying in verses he can't say.
The thing is that when this is a crazy dichotomy, that people that are accused of things have to go through. It's like if you have an attorney or legal advice, they tell you, listen, never talk to the police and never say anything without being in the presence of your attorney. And if you're in the midst of a case, they tell you don't say anything. But then you take the flip side of it. If you don't say anything, you're presumed guilty. I'm like, what you supposed to do? You know what I mean? It's like damned if you do and damned if you don't. I can't say anything because you might use it against me. So I shut my mouth. And then if I shut my mouth, you presume that I'm guilty, especially if you got that complexion. You understand what I'm saying? This law is not afforded for us. It's afforded for them. If you don't say anything, you're guilty. If they don't say anything, they just, following the law. And doing what their attorney told them to do. It's damned if you do it.
Yeah. Mike Sean, should he have even reported to NFL camp, or should he? I mean, I don't know. What do you think, Mike?
Dog, I don't envy his situation. And I don't know what happened. I actually feel bad for him, but I don't know what happened. So please don't hold this against me. I'm just going as a human being that I feel bad because you see the pressure that's on him right now to watch every single word he says. And everything Fig said was 1,000% correct. And guess what? If Deshaun Watson actually said exactly what Fig said, which every word was right, he'd get destroyed. And everything Fig said, there was no lie in what he said. So I don't know. I almost want to tell these young guys, we've always preached this culture. When we thought about being famous, what did we think of? Money, women, and fame. And it's a dangerous game. And we were brought up like that. We were all brought up. That's what comes with being a celebrity. And I almost think we need to start changing that thought process for the younger generation coming up, because it's getting a lot of people in trouble. Guilty or not guilty, is getting a lot of people in trouble. I don't know how to change that culture, but for you young guys out there, running around these streets with these women and doing these massages are turning into a dangerous game. And you're going to have to adapt to something. And I don't have the answer, but there's got to be a change, because he won't be the last one in front of those cameras. He won't be the last one in front of those cameras under the scrutiny.
At the end of the day, massages, if anybody could chase a check, bro, and you give them an idea, a lane that they could get a check from you or a check period, you're in trouble. You're basically in trouble. So go ahead, Fig, you want to say something?
A lot of times when I'm saying stuff, I'll be honest. It's like I'm fighting for myself, because I think of my younger self in my 20s. If I would have been a multimillionaire, I could have been in this exact same position. Would I ever raped an individual or taken a woman against her will? No. But if you're interested in being with me because I got a lot of money, then I'm all good with that. You understand what I'm saying? And I think that's the mindset of some of these young men. They never think that it's going to come back to haunt them later. It's like, wait a minute, we had an agreement, we did this. Now all of a sudden there's a lawsuit, and now I'm guilty of doing something that we agreed to in the beginning. I don't get it. My mindset would have been, that's why I keep saying, if I was a multimillionaire, I could have been in this same situation.
Yeah.
I like the way Fig keeps saying we had agreement. That's funny as hell.
But it's true. It's true, because that's exactly Deshaun Watson said the same thing. It took 2 or 3 women to say, yeah, I didn't like the way he did it. And next thing you know, somebody said, I'm going to get an attorney. And that turned into a class action lawsuit. You know what I mean? And now they're all trying to get $100,000 from him. I mean, it depends on how you look at it.
All the sex that I had, I've never had an agreement. We just silently knew. We just silently knew.
That's an agreement. That's an agreement.
Can you imagine sitting there?
That's an agreement.
Go get the paper. Go get the agreement. I don't have nothing on paper, sir.
Tell me, here's the agreement. She didn't say no.
The agreement was below the belt. You wasn't even talking. Different parts were having a conversation. And then even afterwards, you guys, it was good and you kept in touch, or it wasn't good and one person never heard from the other person. You can always tell who the culprit is, because the other person never hears back from them. You be like, oh, I was bad. She won't return my call.
Oh my God. Yo, I can't with y'all, man.
Yo, that's very, 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 very true. Yeah, but if that's the case, I ended up I destroyed a lot of agreements over my time. I had agreements broken up with people.
That's a funny way to put it. It just sounds hilarious to be talking like that. We had an agreement, and then you said agreement.
Yo, she took her clothes off. That means she agreed. I didn't do it. She did it. It wasn't me.
The only real agreement with sex is involved is prostitution, right? That's the only time you go, so how much is it? Okay, so I'm going to come in there, and how long I get? Half hour? Okay, and I need to bring my own car. Okay, cool. That's an agreement. $50, half hour, bring BYOC. $50, you're right. Everything's laid out. All the plans and it's dotted. $50, half hour, BYOC, the shorts to the hotel, 11 o'clock. You got it all right now. That's an agreement. Now, regular sex,
Let's jump into the show, T. You take it to
Oh, I
another
thought
place.
that was the show. My bad.
You take it to another place right there.
You talking about the show? What?
It started to New York Vice. You know,
That's
something.
hilarious.
All right, so we got to talk about the obviously the game 5 yesterday. Game 5 yesterday happened. We're gonna start with some rapid fire questions. Actually, I'm gonna start with one question first. Ask all y'all the same question, and then we're gonna go into the rapid fire questions. So T, staying in order like I always do. What's your take after you saw Game 5 last night? What's your overall thought process on the game? What you saw last night?
I had a good time. I had a good time watching the game. It had like I told you, I love the whole roller coaster thing that we get privy to sometime, where this one's leading and this one's not leading. So it gave us all of that. You know what I mean? It gave us all that good stuff. So I'm watching the game, and what I did notice was, first of all, I know y'all see me in the feed. Play of the game was Draymond. That play that at the top of the key with the fake come around the pick, and you're gonna get a ball back, and he did that fake and end up going 12 o'clock down the lane with the slam. That was the play to beat, and that happened in the first half. Second half, it got a little again, what I always say when Golden State wins, you can't play their game. The second half, they just started running and gunning with them and trying to play the game. When you do that, you live by the sword, die by the sword. If your shots ain't falling and all those turnovers they was getting them with, bruh, that's what brought the win in for Golden State. But this happened every time Golden State win. You allow them in the late part of the game to get into their game. That's the whole point of beating Golden State, is to take them out of their game. So all that defense we've been heralding Boston about all year, I don't know why they seem to not apply it halfway to the third and then the front part of the fourth. Somewhere in there, their identity's getting lost, bro. Mm-hmm. Pay attention to the second part of the third quarter and the front half of the fourth quarter. Somewhere in there, they get to running and gunning and running with Golden State, and that's not how you're going to beat them. You have to clamp them down. You got to play that D, man.
All right, I'm gonna come back to you with a couple of rapid fire questions in a second. T. Fig, what's your overall take? What you saw overall?
Well, the thing that stuck out to me most is that Ime Udoka changed his strategy. Instead of playing everybody straight up, he decided that Steph Curry was beating them, and that he was going to take Steph Curry away. Which for the most part, he did. They clamped down on Steph and prevented him from taking a lot of threes. He missed a couple open ones, but for the most part, they worked Steph, and they figured they was going to let the other guys beat them. So they did. And that was what I was afraid of. I was afraid that Boston was going to try that. But here's the thing. Those other guys are formidable. And if you take away Steph, you do have – Draymond Green is not considered a point guard, but he plays like one. You take away Steph, you got another point guard who can get everybody else involved. They were at home. The others came along, and they got the win. And that's what I was talking about. The others always play well at home.
Mike Sean, what was your overall synopsis of the game before I start rapid fire? What's the first thing your takeaways coming?
Turnovers, and you can't miss 10 free throws. You just can't miss. You can't have Jason Tatum. I can, off the top of my head, he missed 4 free throws. One time he went to the line, he missed them both. It's deflating.
Twice. He did that twice.
Mm-hmm. Then Jaylen Brown is missing free throws, and to compound everything, it's the turnovers that kill them. They had an amazing third quarter.
They did.
The only thing I want to say is the referees did not cost them this game, because me and Fig were going back and forth. So, but on text messages, you can't get, but so like, and I was in the ER with my daughter, so I couldn't get all into the text. This is the only thing that bothers me. The Celtics are up 5. No, the Celtics are up by 5 points, and they blow a 5-point lead, but they don't blow the 5-point lead. This is where the officials become part of this game. Now, this didn't cost them the game. This compounds everything. Klay Thomas literally pushes Marcus Smart off of him on a 3-point play. He slides, and you know it's a foul because the entire floor stops playing. Even Klay stops playing. Then he goes, "You're not going to call it." Boom, hits the 3-pointer. On the very next possession, Marcus Smart gets called for an offensive foul on an inbounds play, and then gets a technical for arguing in a final series. So they come down, they hit another shot. That 5-point lead was dissolved, not by any fault of the Celtics, but the refs. Now, I'm not saying that blew the game, but it incites me to a point where I go like, dog, you're going to call a technical foul in an NBA Finals game because y'all know you blew the one call, and y'all did this to Marcus Smart. And it just boggles my mind. Why do you have to be involved? I'm not saying Golden State wouldn't have won. I'm saying, why do y'all always have to involve yourself in this, in situations that are so unfair? And Golden State has had this happen to them. That's all I'm saying.
Well, this don't boggle. What boggled me about the
Mike stole my thunder. Mike literally stole my thunder.
Well, hold up, though. What boggles me about it is, what the hell is Mike doing in the ER watching the game?
I was with my daughter.
There's something wrong with his daughter. She in the ER.
Yeah.
Mike's trying to find a game.
No, I had it on my phone. Look, man, you got to multitask in 2022. Yeah,
listen. As a father of 5 kids, you got to find something to do. There's a lot of waiting to do in the ER.
Mike's in the emergency room last night. Everybody, God damn it, sir, we need to run, Mr. Sean, we need to run some tests. Hey, run the test. Come on.
Yo, Talent doesn't understand. My daughter told me twice, Dad, you're in a hospital. She's the one in there, and she's like, you're in a hospital, Dad. You're in a hospital. And I was like, yo, I'm sorry.
I love it.
It says a hospital, not a library. Shut up.
All right, so let's get ready to jump into the rapid fire questions.
Frank, say what you're gonna say.
Yeah, say what you're gonna say, Frank.
We want to hear what you have to say about the Celtics.
Okay, Fig, don't. How my man say? Don't holler.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Don't holler. Mike stole a lot of my thunder, man. I was gonna say a lot of what he said, because one thing I don't want to do is I don't want to blame the refs, because the refs weren't the reason the Celtics lost the game. The refs were a reason of a speed bump on that game, and exactly everything Mike said I was gonna say. That was the reason that the Celtics were starting to take momentum of the game. They stormed back. They were down by 15, 16 points. They came back. They stormed in the game. And when they went up, they had a whole swing. And everything Mike said is what happened. The only thing that I don't like, and the huge thing I don't like, is I like fairness. When Draymond Green went to file the obviously all Jason Tatum to the center to the Boston Celtics,
bench.
Yeah. To the bench.
When you follow him to the bench, that should have been an automatic technical. When Ime Udoka points to the ref, he's having a conversation, that's a tech. When Marcus Smart is talking to another player, and everything else, that's a tech. But Draymond Green could go to the bench, the Celtics bench with Gary Payton Jr., do everything else. That in all the NBA rule book, that's an automatic tech. For Draymond Green, for 2 games in a row now, that's 2 things that should have happened. Not actually 3. Should have happened, wasn't a tech call. Again, I don't want to use that as the excuse. But I will say, Boston is, let me finish. You wanted me to finish? Let me finish. Boston is beating themselves with the turnover, with the amount of turnovers that they gave away the points. If they didn't have half of those turnovers, they would have won the game. You know what I mean? They would have won the game. So right now, I think that they're saying to themselves, if we get 10 or 8 less turnovers, we win this game. If we get 7 less turnovers, we win the last game. You know what I mean? They literally could be up. Now they're down 3-2 instead of being up for 3-2. Or you know what I mean? It depends on how you look at it, but it's funny how we all look at the game and we see different things. You know what I mean? But go ahead, Fig. You want to say something?
No, the only thing I was going to say in rebuttal to what you were saying, I think Ime Udoka actually said something. I don't think he just pointed. I think he actually said something.
He said he pointed to him. He said something.
Yeah.
But regardless.
Yeah, because of the way the ref reacted, I think he said something like way off color, and because the way that ref reacted, he as the first time I seen that referee, throughout the whole season, he looked like he was like he seemed like what Ime Udoka said to him, and if he would have said it in the street, it seemed like they would have been fighting kind of thing. Like he looked pissed.
Let me ask you this: if Draymond Green had did the exact same thing and said the exact same thing, you think he would have got called the tech?
No.
I don't know. Listen, I don't know.
Honestly.
Hold on. What are you trying to say here, Frank?
If what Ime Udoka said to the ref in the exact same motion, would that have been called a technical foul if Draymond Green had done the exact same and said
Yeah.
the exact
Yeah.
same. No,
It wouldn't have been a
cannot-
technical.
Understand something. Understand something. And this is what we was talking about in the barbershop today, but y'all don't seem to get when it comes to the verbal text. Basketball is a high emotional game, especially when the stakes are high. The higher the stakes, the even more high intense it gets. The refs know people are going to be bitching about calls. People are going to be screaming and blah, blah, blah. But what you can't do is get profane and disrespectful. That's going to be judged personally by each personal ref. And there's no book for that. So when you say, what the fuck? Or whatever, something like that, part of my French.
What?
When you react with like that, that's different than what are you looking at, ref? Or how'd you miss it, ref? Come on, B.
Talent.
All of that is regular.
So what is so
Draymond, wait.
Draymond saying?
Draymond said mother effer. It
Right.
was
I saw that.
no, he told the ref. He said mother effer. That was a mother effing loose ball
Right.
and did not get a technical.
Mother effing loose ball and me
No.
calling you mother effing is
No,
two
he
different
called-
ways of the use of that
He
word.
called the
Do you
ref.
not understand that? No, he didn't call him
Yes,
a
he
mother
did.
effer.
Yes, he did.
He said that was a mother effing.
No, he said mother effer. He was
That's
by
the
the
loose
bench.
ball.
He said mother effer. That was a mother
Okay.
loose
Even-
ball.
Listen to me. Even if he said that, right? Did you not hear the part where I just said that? Depending on each individual ref you get, this guy may let you say bastard. This guy may not, and that's not written in no rule book.
You just changed your story. Now,
No, I
now
did
it
not.
depends on the ref.
I just
You
said
just
that.
literally changed your story.
I did not. If you listen to what I said in the end piece of what I said, Mike, I said it depends on the individual. Basketball is high intense. They know that going in, but you got emotional refs that you ain't even got to curse at, and they'll give you a tech. Then you got refs that'll take some cursing and won't give you a tech. He said, if I think with that ref, if Draymond did what he did, would he have gotten? I said yes.
No, he did, but he
What-
didn't. He
No,
did
I
exactly
said-
that.
He did. Listen, with that specific ref, there's 3 refs on the floor. Do you not understand that? And those 3 refs will call the tech according to them. This guy might not call what this guy might call.
Okay, when Draymond walks to the bench, that's an automatic tech. In the rule book,
I agree with that.
that's an
I
automatic
agree
tech.
with that. I
And they
agree.
didn't. And the reason why they won't
I
give him a
agree
tech,
with that, though.
and the reason why they fouled Draymond out 2 out of the 3 games is because they will foul him out, but they will not give him techs because they never want to give him enough techs to ever miss a game ever again in history. They will never give a superstar enough techs to ever miss
But
a
why
game.
is that? It ain't got
Because-
nothing to do with a
because-
superstar. No, it cost him
It
a
has-
championship. That's
and-
what that got to
And
do
it
with
got
it.
exposed because
Yeah.
and it got exposed because once again, the refs got exposed for what people will say they did that for LeBron. And that's exactly what's happening again. And I'm consistent with mine. It's unfair to do it for LeBron if you believe that. I don't think he should have been ejected out of that game against LeBron that day. And I don't think you give 2 technical fouls to the Celtics and 0 technical fouls to Golden State, and you got Draymond walking to people's benches. That is obviously not fair.
Right.
Obviously.
Well,
We
at
agree-
the end
we
of the day,
agree on
listen,
that.
listen, at the
We
end of
agree
the day, the Celtics ended up with 31 free throws, and the Golden State Warriors had 15. Like, are we really gonna? I mean, listen, are we really gonna complain about that?
That's not what we're complaining about.
We're not
No, but I'm just saying,
complaining
forget
about
about the technical fouls.
That's
Forget about
not
the
what we're
technical
complaining
fouls.
about.
They went. I mean, they were getting. The point is, they were getting way more foul calls than Golden State were getting.
That's not the point.
It was double. How many times? How many times in a finals or a playoff game does one team get double the amount of fouls of the other team? Double.
I will explain.
You can call. Listen, you can call a foul damn near on every single play down the court.
Let him finish,
This
Mike. Let him
team
finish.
got double.
Let him finish. But Fig, that wasn't the point of this conversation. But go ahead, Mike. You
And the
jump
other
in.
point of the conversation is the non-calls.
That's the point.
It's the non-calls that are happening where Steph Curry, you review a call, and Steph Curry in the game before this literally extends his arm, pushes Hartford off. You review it and you don't call it. Then you got Klay Thompson come down on a break, pushes Marcus Smart blatantly off, and they don't call it. The other thing, wait, I'll let you finish. The other thing I'm going to say is, obviously, Boston was getting more calls simply because they were more aggressive going to the rim.
No.
They were more aggressive. They were Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum the entire series have made a living at going to the rim. So the team that's more aggressive is going to get more fouls. All I'm saying is nobody said this cost the game. All I'm saying is that the fingerprints that the refs put on games are unfair. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, let me ask you this. Did you clearly watch the game?
Yes.
Did you see the way they were
in the emergency room?
Did you see at the hospital? Did you see the way that they were guarding Steph Curry?
I sacrificed for this show. Yes.
Right. Did you see the way that they were guarding Steph Curry?
Yes.
Did you think that any of those should have been called fouls?
Could have been, yes.
A lot of them, right? I mean, Marcus Smart was grabbing him, holding him, had his up. One time I thought he was going to snap his arm because he had it locked and he couldn't get away. They were playing aggressive basketball, pretty much the same way that they played Brooklyn with Kevin Durant, the same way they played Milwaukee with Giannis, and the same way they played against Miami. They're an aggressive basketball team, and they get away with a lot.
We used to call that.
You can't complain later.
They're not complaining. Nobody's complaining about that.
Nobody was complaining about that.
If you listen to exactly what we're saying, and I'm gonna make sure I'm gonna reiterate what Mike said. If you listen to exactly what we're saying fair. Be fair across the board. Be fair across the board. And you're obviously not understanding what we're saying about being fair.
Okay. Here's the thing. You're speaking from
I'm not missing the point. How about that, Kevin Lane? No,
you're not missing the point. What it is
that a supporter.
Understand something. Here's the thing. And Frank, my condolences on your loss. Here's the thing. When people lose, they feel different about the officiating. But let's go back and
I'm
let's
not saying nothing about the officials. I don't care about the officials.
You just concurred with Mike. That's all about the officials.
I concurred.
But let us go back to basketball 101. Let us all agree on this. No matter who, what, where is playing in the finals and in these series, there's even throughout the regular season, there's a bit of home cooking that goes in every game. Would you agree?
Who are you asking me?
Everybody. There's a bit of home cooking. We call it home cooking. Well, that's why people fight for home court advantage. Because so they got a better chance of winning, because even with the refs and officiating, you got to factor in that little bit of home cooking. Now, how much they put in that recipe varies game to game, but you're supposed to get a little bit of home cooking. That's just part of the game. I'm sorry. I didn't write it. I didn't make it so. It's always been. Now, they're at home that game. So they got a little bit of home cooking. Might not have came at the time you wanted it. Maybe it was a crucial time, maybe not. But they got a little bit of home cooking. Again, we all agree we can't blame the refs for that loss. You got turnovers. You got how many times people got rebounds and on the line, making a living at the line and all that. All that things factors in your final score of where you were at different parts of the game. But don't forget to factor in the recipe and the ingredient of a little home cooking. That's all I'm saying. Now, when they go back to Boston, this Thursday, I guarantee you we're going to see some good old green and white home cooking.
But the amazing thing in talent, I agree. You get home cooking. The amazing thing is Golden State got home cooking in Boston. Like they were getting caught. But once again, let's get off the fouls. Let's get off the refs. The refs do what they do. The NBA is just irritating, and I keep repeating, I'm just happy my team ain't playing.
Listen, I'm gonna say this. I think the refs were doing the thing in Boston because they wanted to extend the series. They did not want a 5-game series, did not want a 6-game series, they want a 7-game series. I don't even know if they're gonna get 7 games, because the way Boston's turning the ball over, that doesn't mean that it's gonna go back to Golden State, because Boston is beating themselves. So, Talent, I'm gonna throw this out there to you. You got the first question in the rapid fire, and I'm way behind the thing and everything else. I'm gonna throw it out to you. Do you think that Steph Curry broke his record? Like, Steph Curry had a record of playoff games with 3-point shots and everything else. Do you think Steph Curry will ever see a game again without him hitting a 3-pointer again in his career? You think it'll ever happen again?
No, because history's shown us that the older players get the more jump shots they take. You work on your jump shot, and then the latter part of your career, you take more jumpers than ever. What you're going to start seeing when you see Steph lose a step and get a little older to that point, but he's not going to be driving as much and doing all that bumping and hitting the floor. He's going to be settling for more and more jumpers. He's just if he started with a jumper, that's what makes him so dangerous. Because when he gets in his tenure, like that's all he's gonna be looking for. You got to be sending 2-3 guys out there. And I mean, let's face it, when you see Steph hoist the three, who's mad? I'm more surprised when it don't go in, to be honest.
Yeah.
All right, so Fig, he had a record of 233 games with made threes in the ends of the Golden State Warriors win. If Golden State ends up winning the NBA Finals, is Steph, because he didn't hit one 3-pointer in last night's game and he did horrible last night, does Steph get the NBA MVP if Golden State wins?
Absolutely, because there was a lot of games where Steph actually had to carry him, and it's not like he didn't do anything yesterday. He just didn't hit a 3-pointer. He hit plenty of twos. He just didn't hit a 3. So I mean, you can't get mad at dude because he hit a 3. It ain't like he was at a donut. He scored. He got some rebounds and stuff like that. He got a couple of assists. So yeah, you can't take the MVP away from him because in the game 5 he was all they had. So now you can't take that away because he didn't hit a 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Mike, on the flip side, some people are saying that Andrew Wiggins should be the running contention for Golden State Warriors for MVP. A lot of people are saying that. I don't necessarily agree either, but what's your thought process of Andrew Wiggins possibly winning the MVP?
No, that was a Skip Bayless special, and I saw him say it, and you already know.
And he gets a vote. And he gets a vote. Too.
And he gets a vote, and he's an antagonizer. Look, Andrew Wiggins has been amazing, has played his part. But Steph in some of these games, and I'm not saying this because I am saying it. He's done LeBron-ish. Like he's carried a team when the team was cold. Like when they were losing, they were only in the game because of Steph.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like Clay is getting all this applause for 15 points. Andrew Wiggins is getting what he deserves, 17 points, a bunch of rebounds. He had one game with 16 rebounds. He's done a great job. He saved the day. He's been that Robin, that Steph Curry that we didn't think he would be. But dog, Steph Curry is the obvious MVP of this team. Like if that dude goes off the floor, it's blowout city. Like there's no competition. It's done. It's over. If he's not on the floor, he deserves that MVP. Yeah,
I think he deserves that MVP also too. Speaking of Draymond Green, everything else, he had a great comeback game. See, he literally did. He made a difference of the game last night. There's no way shaping and everything else. My question to you is, being that he did that, do you think he saved himself from staying on Golden State for the future for the next 2 years, or do you think Golden State looks at that and says, you know what? We see now he's getting older. We might have to move him. What's your thought?
No, I think I really like the balance of that squad. I think he stays. Yeah, I mean, he woke up and he showed people, still this guy, whatever. So I think you keep him around for 2 years, for if nothing else, to help groom these next come up guys. They already got the come up guys on the team. Yeah. So they're not going to be looking for their next big thing for another 2-3 years at least. But you want a Draymond there to groom those next guys that's coming off that's going to be playing the swing man and the power forwards and the center position. You need him there to help those guys along. You don't just get rid of him and then these guys are just, what is Steve Kerr going to help a big guy with?
Interesting take. Fig, what do you think? Do you think the general manager of the Golden State Warriors decides to keep him again for the next 2 years, or do you think they see the end of the road right now?
Yeah, man, because it's like these three are like the like the three amigos, man. I mean, that's like your core group, and I mean they're all pretty much just around about the same age, and the camaraderie that they have and the chemistry that they have, they only can pass that on to the next generation of guys. Like I know, I'm pretty damn sure that great Draymond Green has a lot of respect in that locker room for what he's already done and what he's continued to do. Like last night, he only scored 8 points, but that's his average. So he did what he was, what he's been doing all along. The one anomaly is game 7 when they played against Cleveland, when he hit like 30 some odd points. I mean, that was an anomaly. That's something that very rarely happens. His average is 8, and that's what he's been doing.
Mike, what do you do if you're Golden State GM? Do you look at it and say, you know what, he shows signs of us get ready to get rid of him, or you decide to keep him for another 2 more years?
If Bill Belichick was a GM, his ass be gone next year. But I think Golden State understands what they have. Listen, I always say this. Draymond Green should thank his lucky stars. He's a Hall of Famer because he got chosen by the right exact team. Because if he had gotten drafted by Sacramento, he would not have a podcast right now. I promise you. He'd just be a guy who averages 8 points. But on this team, he's crucial. He's a Hall of Famer. Like, he's the one Hall of Famer that we can all agree if we were a GM, we would not draft him number 1 in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But because of who he played for, it worked out. He's important. They won chips, and he's a major part of winning those chips and a major part of the dynasty. And they're not going to get rid of him because I think Steph Curry would actually go crazy if you got rid of the guy who's tossing people off of piles when he's at the bottom of it. So I think Steph would have a big problem if you're going to take the one guy who does all the physicality and all the dirty work. So he's there. I think.
Great point, Mike. That's a great point. Great
And
point.
his Steph Curry, you gotta understand, he's very emotional. His mother and his father just split up.
Dude, did you hear the story behind that?
Let me tell you something. Yo, the NBA, the camera people are very childish.
Oh my God.
They made sure they caught each. How despicable are the camera people that work for the NBA? Like every big moment, they made sure that camera hit each broken up couple. Right? I'm like, yo, why y'all got it? Yo, everybody in the bar when that happened of a night, we was like, oh, that's not mom. Yo, I know Steph Curry look at the little highlights and everything and be like, yo, y'all look at that. Like, put this man going through things, man. Nobody wants to see their parents break up.
Nobody wants to see your mom with a new dude and your dad with a new chick, and now they got a battle who celebrates better.
You think we're in a dilemma? What do you think his face looked like when he get the ticket call? He used to just reserve 2 tickets for mom and dad. Now 2 apiece.
Yeah, that's ugly.
I'm sorry, man. I have to push back on this. I think Dell could get his own tickets. Dell is pretty popular.
Yeah, probably. All right, so I'm gonna change the story up, man. I want to throw this out there to you, man. T. I don't know if you heard this, but Montrezl Harrell got charged with drug trafficking after cops said that they found 3 pounds of weed in his car during a traffic stop way back in May, which wasn't too far ago, a couple weeks ago. And he was in Kentucky. Now he's facing to be behind bars up to 5 years. Montrezl Harrell's doing that. He's joining Rajon Rondo with possibly going to jail and everything else, man. What's your take on when you hear now? Here's the crazy thing: Montrezl Harrell is an active NBA player. Do you think? And he's on the tail end of his career. Do you think he signs up for another NBA team? Do you think they pick him up? Do you think they cut him off? What do you think is going to happen to Montrezl Harrell, bro?
First of all, this is really stupid. Like, let me put this in perspective. 3 pounds of weed. You know what that? You ever go to the store and buy a 5-pound bag of sugar? Put in perspective how heavy and how much weed we got for 3 pounds. That's crazy. You are an NBA active NBA player. You ain't the bottom of the bottom. You may not be LeBron, but people know your name. You get busy. This is unfortunate. And I don't care if it's comedy, music, sports. I know where we come from, most of us, man, but we gotta be smarter than this, bro. Like, you gotta say this way against this and make a right decision. What is this man doing, man? And you said Rajon Rondo too?
Rajon Rondo, you remember he had the gun charge a couple of weeks ago. He's facing jail time because he pulled the gun out on his baby's mother. So I don't think he'll ever be in the league again.
Well, they're gonna lock him up together because come to find out, Rondo pulled the gun out on him trying to steal the weed. That's how the cops got caught.
There you go with that, T. There you go with that.
Everybody's going down.
Hey, Montrezl
Is there at least one person smoking weed listening to the show today? Like, word?
Yo, Montrezl Harrell got caught up in Kentucky, Fig. In Kentucky. Like, if that don't tell you something's wrong off the top, right? You know what I mean? What's your thoughts?
Yo, man, you know what's funny? It was Rondo's baby mother that sold Montrezl Harrell the weed, and the weed belonged to Rondo, and that's why Rondo pulled the gun.
Let's keep it going. Somebody go listen to this.
All right, listen. Let me unpack this just a little bit, Frank. Just a little bit. 3 pounds of weed for a habitual weed smoker isn't really that much. And let me tell you this from somebody who used to indulge extreme quite often. The more you buy, the cheaper it is. So 3 pounds is really not a lot if you're if you smoke every day. 3 pounds is not a lot. Let me explain it to you this way.
Look at your eyes.
Hold on, listen to what I'm saying. We got a country where weed is being legalized throughout the country. It's not like it's not like heroin. It's not like cocaine. He had weed, for God's sake. Let me tell you what he did. It's like going to Costco. It's like going to the Sam's Club. He bought in bulk because it's cheaper.
Right.
Who said he was if you didn't catch him selling it, who said that he was going to distribute it? That could have been for his own personal use. We're talking about a multi-millionaire who bought 3 pounds of weed, probably for his own use. Who said he was going to distribute it? If I'm his lawyer, this is a misdemeanor. Let him go. It's 3 pounds. If you didn't see him selling it, what's the big deal?
Unfortunately, in the state of Kentucky, it's up to 5 years.
That's the big problem. He was
look at Finn's eyes, though.
Unfortunately, Mike, unfortunately for him, in Montrose Harrell's case, it's up to 5 years in prison. He'll probably get 30 days, but it's up to 5 years in prison. You know what I mean? But what's your take on this, Mike?
Fig was right, but Talent Story was better. So when Rondo pulled the gun out on Montrez was really mad because he was on his way to Matt Barnes's house because Matt Barnes wanted all the smoke. So listen.
Somebody gonna believe it.
This should be hitting TikTok and Instagram any minute now, y'all. So this could go viral. Get ready, y'all. This could go viral.
Oh my God.
I truly hope that this man does not get 5 years. I truly hope he didn't throw his career away. In all seriousness, he could have bought the way Fig. I've known people to buy supplies like that and weren't really selling it. But in Kentucky, it's a bad spot to have that much weed on you. So listen, I wish him luck. I wish him well. I hope that career doesn't wind up doing a 5-year bid. Hopefully he gets a good lawyer.
Yeah. So Chief, being that we talked about LeBron right now, I saw a news flash came out this morning that LeBron hasn't committed to the Lakers before free agency. They want him to sign that tender, everything else before free agency and everything else. But what nobody's talking about just yet is he hasn't signed the paperwork to commit to the Lakers before free agency to get that extension to get through, and also that the extra money he's due and everything else. Concerned if you're the Lakers? Do you care if you're the Lakers? What's your thought process on that? Rapid fire, y'all.
You shouldn't be. Here's the thing. We forgot that this is the guy that held the world hostage and said, I'm taking my talents to South Beach. So he's been dramatic since he's been in the league. So let his drama play out. Don't piss him off. Leave him alone. Just sign him when you get ready. He's still in Cancun.
All right, there it is. Fig, different topic, different question. Tyler Hero is in trade talks right now. Miami is calling people about Tyler Hero literally right now for Zach LaVine in Chicago. They're trying to make sure that Chicago wants literally Zach LaVine to come down. I mean, Miami wants Zach LaVine, and Miami's willing to shop and is shopping Tyler Hero. You like that trade?
If it wasn't for the Zach LaVine injury, I don't think they'd be trying to get rid of him. And Tyler Hero, he's just basically a jump shooter. I don't know, man. Maybe it's Tyler Hero and something else, because I'm
sure.
What's the name? LaVine plays an aggressive attack kind of basketball, and that fits Miami's culture. He would really fit there. He would really fit there. That's a really great fit for LaVine.
If Zach LaVine goes to Miami, Miami's in the finals next year. I think that'd be safe to say, because I don't think too many people beat with the team they have.
No, Frank.
Damn, wow.
If Boston Celtics get a point guard, they'll be back.
But obviously they definitely would be. So for Mike, for you, let me throw this out there to you. DeAndre Ayton is right now in talks for a sign and trade. It's right now in all the NBA circles. Phoenix is definitely not keeping him. Right now, DeAndre Ayton is going to be being caught up for a sign and trade with Atlanta. So people are thinking that there's going to be a sign and trade to the Atlanta Hawks. You like DeAndre Ayton for the Atlanta Hawks, Mike?
Who are they getting back? And why are they so anxious to trade this dude? Like, you got to start thinking the story within the story is why is an organization getting rid of such a young guy who looks like his promising career could wind up being a multi-time all-star? Like, why? Like, what is going on? That would be great for Atlanta, but who's Phoenix going to get back? Are they going to, what are they going to give up? What's his name? Who's their big man that they got from Houston?
Well, Atlanta's probably going to get back their big man and maybe a draft pick. But DeAndre Ayton right now, I don't care what happens and everything else right now, because of what's happening right now with obviously with people it looks like they're definitely going to trade DeAndre Ayton because he's having a problem with the head coach up at Phoenix. Like he's on record of the head coach Monty is saying he's not liking what's going on up there, so he's definitely not going to stay.
Make sure
I think
you're
it's
right,
Clint Capella. Clint
Capella. Now Phoenix got Clint Capella. I'd go there if we can't settle it between the coach and the player. But Monty Williams, you better be right, dog. You better be absolutely right that this is worth losing that young man. There ain't too many dudes doing that. That's what I'm saying, Monty. Say your prayers. Go to Bible study.
Monty's on point with this one because Monty Williams knows what he's doing. He's been around the NBA for 30 plus years. If he says you're gone, I think you're gone. And he says something bad about you, I think that's worth it. John, I'll switch up to the NFL, man, and throw this out there to you real quick. It looks like Lamar Jackson is settling in, like we talked about yesterday and everything else. NFL players and all the circles and everything else are upset. But the thing is, the word is that Lamar Jackson's been calling around trying to get an agent now instead of having his mother and his people handle his contract negotiations. Does that raise red flags for you, or do you like that as a thought process, or is he thinking through the whole thing now that maybe the smart thing is to do to get a agent? What you think, T? You're on.
That would be a red flag. Anytime you do anything different business-wise in the middle of the stream is going to send a flag. It's a ripple effect. Ripple effect in the water. It's going to make people think like, what's changed? What's different? Something obviously has changed. If you just wake up one day, you know what? Give me an agent. Like if you've been doing it a certain way. So, I mean, that agent thing can be tricky as hell. So I would say that's a definite red flag. I still like the old days. The best negotiations I've ever seen in the history of the NBA, to my knowledge, was Clyde Drexler and the Portland Trail Blazers. He sat down over dinner and did all his stuff with the owner, mano a mano. It don't get no better than that. And the owner relationship with Clyde was so dope that at the last couple of years of his career, he sat down with him and he said, we're going to do like this. We're going to put your number at a certain place and trade you to a contender. And that's how Clyde Drexler got to Houston and got the chips.
Yeah, that makes absolutely sense. Perfect sense. Fig, you got to say, though, one thing about Lamar Jackson, everything else, there are other players now that are starting to look at it and say, I like the way he's handling his negotiations because he's in the final year of his contract. Do you like the way he's handling his negotiations right now?
Look, at the end of the day, the number is already set. So you can either say, I want the numbers this set, or I'm willing to go a little lower, or I'm willing to extend it. I don't know why he would need an agent. I think he could do well with his mom and an attorney, you know what I mean, to figure out what the numbers would be, or how the contract would be structured, an attorney to actually read your contract. But the numbers are set. He could literally just say, well, what did the last guy get? Give me a little more than that, or 5% more than that, and we good. I mean, that's basically what it is. That's the way it's been going as far as quarterbacks in the NFL. Yeah, if you're that kind of caliber, and Lamar Jackson is, he said, just give me a little more, unless he's willing to take less.
Mike, Lamar Jackson could get tagged this year and next year for $30.1 million this year and next year. That's what the reports are saying. Okay. So do you think he should do what he's doing right now? Do you think he should sit there and get an agent? How do you think he should handle it? So you like what Fig and T said?
I just always feel funny. Like if a comedy promoter said, Mike, what's your price for the show? And I said, call my mom. Like, I don't know what her background is. Maybe she's amazing. I always thought that was weird, but it's worked out so far. Like Fig said, it really ain't that complicated. You gotta make him a top 5 quarterback in salary. At this point, I still don't understand why other NFL players are so like uptight over this and worried about this. Like, what are you worried? Why are you in this dude's pockets? He's fine right now. But I think it's only a matter of time before he gets an agent, because I think what happens is he's not just going to want to be a top 5 quarterback. I think what he's trying to do is crack the bank right now. And I think he believes in his heart, if Deshaun Watson can get $230 million guaranteed, I should not get a penny less than Deshaun Watson when I've been carrying this franchise. Whether we think he's better than Deshaun or not, in his mind, I can see him saying, I'm going to need somebody to push some weight here and press these guys to understand I'm not taking $229 million. I'm taking either $231 million, or then we're going to have a problem.
Yeah, I agree with that part. All right, so the last thing, man, and before we wrap up everything else, I don't know if you guys heard, but Jack Del Rio apologized to the team. And according to Coach Ron Rivera, it was well received. Like I said yesterday and the day before and everything else, it really depends on how the team, the NFL, handles this situation and everything else. According to the team, everybody's happy with it, and that's what they're saying. I'm going to throw this out there. I think this is all just news. I cannot see a room full. You got right now, especially in the offseason. Normally it's 55 NFL players. Right now they're up to 80 NFL players right now. It's before cut down. Can you see, let's say there's 71, 74 black men on that team right now. Can you see 70 plus black men all thinking what he said was fine and they all agree with that team?
No, not at all. But here's the thing too. We're still, like you said, you got 30-something players that won't be there permanently, first of all. So I think when you get a bunch of black men vying for work, any type of job, you kind of mums the word till you get the job. So ain't nobody protesting right now because 30 of them dudes trying to be employed. Now once it's employed, if this story hangs around long enough, yeah, you'll get the people, because once they sign, that's when you speak your mind. You don't speak your mind before you sign. Let me tell you something. Do you do that? Do you speak your mind before you sign?
I think to your point, I think veteran players could speak their mind and say that they
veterans, yes.
Yeah, I think veteran players could. Right. And I think the players who are the players who are trying to get, like what he said, veteran players could say something. I think players who are trying to make the team probably won't say something. But that's when you have leaders on your team speak out right now, right, Fig?
I mean, I think so, man. But this is, like Talent said, this is real difficult when you come to the NFL, because I think we said several times that the average career for NFL players is 3 to 5 years. So you got 3 to 5 years to make your money and do whatever it is you're going to do. It's not a place where you can really make a lot of waves and stuff like that. And the only time you can really speak your mind and you can really be free is when you're financially secure. And if you're not financially secure, then there's no freedom, and there's no freedom of speech. Even though what this guy said was absolutely horrific, you can't speak your mind if you need them to employ you.
Mike, you get the last word on this, bro.
I think they won't fire him. I think they will forgive him. This reminds me when Riley Cooper, former wide receiver for the Eagles, got caught on video at a concert saying, let's go get these N-words. And then he went to the locker room, and for some odd reason, Michael Vick stood up for him. Well, they got rid of him the next year. I think Jack Del Rio will get fired, but he will get fired next year, and they'll blame it on his performance, on the poor performance of the defense. Because I think right now, with the Commanders, if they fire him now, they're taking a side between the Trumpsters and the other political side. So I think they don't want to even choose that, because they really don't want to go on either side in Washington. And that's my belief.
And they could be opening themselves up for a lawsuit too because of that.
Yeah. That's a great point Mike made, because the guy Mike's talking about, the reason why he stood up for him, because he used to be at the dog fights with Vic, and they say
and the fact that his name is Del Rio is a little suspect, as I remember my history.
Hey Mike, that's cold how they got the dogs to start fight. Get them niggas.
See, tell everybody how they can follow you, bro. Tell everybody out there they can follow you.
Follow me, people. Talent at itsjustcomedy.com. Check me out there. Check me out on Instagram, Talent the Comedian. And if you got people in the Jersey area, this weekend, Father's Day, 2 shows down at the Stress Factory in New Brunswick. We call it Meet the Browns. We got a live performance from Horace Brown and my girl Coco Brown headlining the comedy show. So Meet the Browns, come to the Stress Factory, New Brunswick, Sunday.
Fig.
Yeah, you can follow your boy Comedian Fig, all social media platforms, baby. And I'm gonna be following one of these dudes because they be doing a lot of stuff.
Right.
A lot of stuff.
Well, yeah, that's good that I do a lot of stuff, but what I'm doing after this is take a nap. So follow me on my live as I sleep, live at Mike Sean Comedy. And don't forget to check me out in the morning time, Media Room 360 to check out the morning show.
Yo, put your website out there, Mike. Watching the game at the emergency room with my daughter.
Y'all, that's the show. We will see y'all tomorrow. We're gonna talk more about the NFL, more NBA recap, talk a little bit about baseball. The show's called Box Seats. Humor Mill with you. That's Big, that's T, that's Mike. We'll see y'all. Peace.